Hello guys and welcome to another video! So yesterday I finished reading Daughter of the Deep, the latest book by Rick Riordan, and today we have a lot to talk about. So before I get into a spoilery review, let us see the non-spoilery review of this book, Rick Riordan's latest book, not in the Percy Jackson verse. So first of all, let's start with a synopsis of this book. This book follows our main character right here, Ana Dakkar, and she goes on this seemingly normal field trip with her school, Hartington Pencroft, but then something tragic happens due to their rival school, Land Institute, and she is forced to face her destiny that is entwined with the legend of Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So she has to find herself while at the same time searching for a traitor in her midst. So she has to learn more about herself and about her family and what it means to be a Dakkar, and at the same time she needs to lead a crew of freshmen to save the world, which is, as you might presume, not an easy task. So what else can I say without it being spoilery? The story has this air of mystery about it because no one knows how Land Institute can follow their every move, and they suspect there's a spy between them. So there's always that tension of who can I trust, who can't I trust, who is going to stab me in the back, and oh my god, does it pay off in the end. I really recommend this. It's not like a mystery book, but it has mystery and it keeps you on your toes, and when you see the final result at the end, I gasped so loud. So it's definitely worth it. What else can I say? The school is divided into 4 houses. The HP school is divided into 4 houses. You can see what this is a reference to. And those houses are House Dolphin, House Shark, House Cephalopod, I don't know, and House Orca. I think, because it explains them to you here, just so you can follow along easier, that I would belong either in House Shark or House Dolphin, but that's a stretch, and only because I speak more than 2 languages. So yeah, I feel like I would belong to House Shark. This book follows the story of Anna, her 2 best friends, Nelinya and Esther, and their maybe haters to friend, Jem. And those are basically all the main characters besides the main character's brother, Dev. And what else can I say? This has a sensitivity reader. It has 2 sensitivity readers. In fact, one is a white woman who is autistic, and then the other one is a woman of color who I'm pretty sure is Indian. So all in all, I thought that really worked, and I'm pretty happy with Rick making that decision for this book. And hopefully he'll do it for more of his books in the future, because you could feel that it wasn't just a white man writing this. So I think it was a very good influence on this book, and especially having a woman of color being the main character, I thought it was a great choice. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was really enjoyable, read it in 3 days, so super quick read. I feel like it has 337 pages, so you can get through it real fast. Fans of Rick Riordan are going to love it. It has his signature style, his signature humor. Granted, it is more grounded because it's more like a sci-fi retelling of a Jules Verne's book, but I think if you like Rick Riordan, you are going to love it, and it is worth the read. So that being said, let's move on to spoilers. Okay, so first of all, let's focus on the characters. Obviously, our main character is Anna, and she is my favorite character out of the book. I loved how she approached things. She wasn't reckless, she thought things through, and she was a great natural born leader, and I loved seeing her transition from just being like one of the pack to being the leader of her freshman class. I thought that was a really nice transition, and they did it really well. And then we have Nelinya, whom I didn't necessarily love. She kept calling everybody babe, and I know it's like a friendly way to address your friends. Like, I do that sometimes, not babe, but I don't know, it just felt a bit condescending to me at times. I know it wasn't her intention, but I was like, could you please stop calling people babe? I did think it was very funny when she called Anna Captain Babe. That is the one time that I would accept that nickname. Moving on to the other friend, Esther, I thought she was well done. Seeing as it has as this book has an autistic sensitivity reader, I'm guessing it's okay. So I liked her character, and I liked the way that they mentioned her thought process. I thought it was so interesting. Going back to Nelinia, I did think that she was a bit annoying with the gem situation. I think that the reveal of why they hated each other, or why Nelinia hated Jem, was extremely underwhelming. Yes, he might have like put her in a uncomfortable spot by asking her if she was the scholarship student, by like exposing her to the school and not like rich as they all were, or not from like the old families like they were, but he didn't do it on purpose. It's mentioned explicitly that he did it without malice, just out of pure curiosity, and then 2 years later she still hates him for just like being curious. Yes, he made a mistake, but it wasn't his intention. She obviously has a right to her own feelings, but I feel like it was a bit of a stretch saying that they would have hated him that much for 2 years, when from all we've seen of Jem, he's just like such a gem. He is so sweet. He is the opposite of toxic masculinity, which is what I would have expected from him, being a shark. But other than that, the characters were great. Dev was also a bit, I loved the plot twist with Dev, okay? I gasped out loud. I could not believe what I was seeing. I knew he must be alive because he's an important character, but I didn't know he was gonna be one of the bad guys. I thought he might have been held hostage, but no, he was the bad guy. Honestly, I would have loved to see more of like his motivation for becoming the bad guy and for betraying his baby sister, especially because when we first see them interact at the beginning of the book, it looks like everything is completely fine. It looks like he loves her and she loves him and they have a good sibling bond, but then he's like, no, I'm gonna risk killing my sister just to get our inheritance. So I would have liked to see the seeds of him being that greedy and that motivated to get anything he wants by any means possible before. But yeah, obviously the book starts so fast and we barely get to see them interact that it's impossible to have those seeds planted. But I wish like we could have gotten like a flashback or two of Ana thinking about him and him being like that. But all in all, I like the plot twist, and I like the way things ended with them going to visit their parents in the underwater garden. I thought that was really sweet, and it really just shows how good of a person Ana is. I just love her character. She stands out among the other ones. Speaking of characters, I thought at the beginning, since Jem was introduced as like this antagonist, I thought that maybe we were getting a haters to lovers. Obviously, when I got to the middle of the book and nothing had happened, I knew that this book wasn't going to be focused on romance. I'm the one who's always saying that Rick shouldn't only focus on romance in his books and that his characters are allowed to have friendships instead of just romances, which was good to see. It was very refreshing. I was just misled at the beginning by my own thoughts because I see a haters to lovers and I jump right into that. But in the end of the book, we did get a Jem stripping his shirt off scene to like bandage Ana, and I feel like there's real potential there because Ana blushed, which might have just been because of the situation, because Jem's a guy, but I see potential. It's obviously not going to be a series. This is a standalone, but I think that they would get together in the future because they make such a badass couple, okay? And I love badass couples where they're both like awesome, incredible leaders. So yeah, I totally ship them, and in my headcanon, they end up together in the future. Which leads us to the plot. I think the plot was good. It did have some like really nice momentum, and then it cut it a little bit just to have more exposition. But we obviously needed a lot of exposition with this book, especially if you don't know the mythology around 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I did not, so it was nice to know. There were a lot of scientific terms, both in terms of the technology that they were using and the marine life. I really enjoyed that. I feel like I learned a lot, obviously more about marine biology because that's real. The technology, unfortunately, is not real, but I feel like it was very well investigated, and props to Rick for doing his homework. So pretty easy basic structure. I thought more things were going to happen, but we did really need to sit in some of those spaces in like the boat and then the island and then the submarine later, to give us like the exposition and to move the plot along. And the plot twist, it was great. I did not see it coming. I should have seen it coming, but I was blindsided by my fear of adults in Rick Riordan books and my fear of authority in Rick Riordan books. Anytime we get an adult and they're like, oh, you can trust us, you're home now. I'm like, no, no, absolutely not. They are a monster, they are evil, they will betray us. So I was blindsided by that. And I should have known, if it's not an adult you just met, it's someone in your family who's gonna betray you. This is a Rick Riordan book, people. I should have known those were my two possibilities. And the writing style, just very Rick in general. It had a lot of his humor, but you can also see that he was being influenced by his sensitivity readers, because he does mention Ana being on her period several times, which I thought was a nice addition because you never see that in books. Even though it contributed almost nothing to the book, it wasn't a plot point, but it contributed to her character because like she is going through the shittiest week of her life, and on top of that, the poor girl has to be on her period, which is apparently a very painful period with a lot of period cramps. Like, this poor girl, she is really being put through it, so it just adds to her struggle. And it's just an important thing to add to a middle grade book, to normalize it. Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be a plot point, it's just literally a part of her life. So I thought that was great. And I thought the use of his sensitivity readers for the women of color, women in general, and the autistic representation was pretty good. The only thing that I found kind of iffy, I don't know what Black people think about it, but the way that Rick described Black people's hair, especially Black women's hair, because those are the only ones that he describes with, like, thoroughly, it's by calling them, I feel like Nelina's hair, or no, Tia's hair was described as corkscrew or something like that, and then Ophelia's hair was described as barbed wire. I would not want my hair described with those things, but I don't know how people feel about it. It just made me feel a little like, is it really like barbed wire? I enjoyed the characters. Ana was definitely my favorite. I wish Death could have been explored a bit more in depth. The Gem was very good. I feel like we got enough from him to know how he is as a character. Wish we could have seen more from Nelina. I feel like we got more from Esther, which was good. I liked her character as well, and I loved Top. It was really nice to see how a service dog works when it's for like emotional support. I really like that part being included. I loved Jupiter, the orangutan. He was incredible. Every time he was in the book, I had a smile on my face. He was there for like 10 pages tops, but he was so funny. I loved him. And then we get to Nelina. I wish she could have been explored more. She was the least explored out of the four main characters. I wish we could have seen why she hated Gem and like given more reasons, or a better reason at least. But I liked her. It was cool to see her, and the trio of best friends, I really love seeing female friendship, so I really enjoyed it. The plot, as I said, good, slow at times, fast at times. Overall, pretty formulaic in what you would expect from this kind of book, but it's a middle grade book, so I thought very good overall. And then sensitivity readers, way to go. I really appreciate you doing this, and I really appreciate Rick taking this step forward because he kind of needs it, but honestly, we all do, and it's good for him to realize and to take steps to move forward and do better in the future. So, way to go, Rick. This is the first step. Let's keep this going. And final thoughts, I did really go into this book with zero expectations. I did go with one expectation, and it was that I wasn't going to like it, but I bought it, and I read it, and I liked it. So I think that even if you're iffy because this is not in the Percy Jackson verse and it's another kind of genre, it's not fantasy, it's more like sci-fi, and it's a retelling of something, I think you're still going to like it. If you like Rick's books, if you like his writing, if you like his characters, then you are going to like this. I feel like there's no way you can't like it if you like Rick. So that is it for this video. Please leave a like if you liked it. Comment down below if you've read it and who's your favorite character and what was your favorite moment in the book. And if you haven't read it, why haven't you picked it up yet? Subscribe if you haven't already and click that bell button so you get notifications every time I post a new video. I post videos very frequently on this channel, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!